right, good evening, everybody. It's a great opportunity for us to welcome you to Perspectives. We've been out for 2 weeks, and we're delighted that we can join you again this evening, and we can share a quite interesting scenario, one that deals with how, as men, we can deal with some of the issues that face us during COVID-19. We are very delighted that you can share this private time, and what we do know is that when we are offline, we have the opportunity for many individuals to join and again review the information that we have shared during the 45 minutes that we sit together. It's always a blessing and a joy that we can come to you from the studios of the North Caribbean Conference. And this evening, I'm delighted, really delighted to have 2 guests with me. Many of you are unaware that in the North Caribbean Conference, we have our auditor, Brother Mervyn Rogers. We are really happy to have him with us this evening, a very astute guy with a mind that sees 6 sides, even though there are 8. And a man who sees 9 sides, even though you only have 6. But we're really delighted to have him in our studios with us this evening to share in this discussion. Brother Rogers is a man of no mean repute. He has represented the North Caribbean Conference, the Caribbean Union, at lots of our programs, and we are delighted to have him this evening. Welcome, Brother Rogers.
Well, thank you very much, Pastor Philbert. I'm delighted to be here.
Beautiful.
Especially, we are going to deal with men.
Yes.
Men who don't actually often get the stage.
Yes.
And so, to address men now, I'm delighted to be here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And our resource person this evening comes from the island of Grenada. We are delighted to have this evening as our resource individual, Dr. Niels J. Chaitan. Dr. Chaitan is a Grenadian-born founder and president and frontline speaker of Motive 8 for Change International. It's a powerful Toronto-based social skills agency which has ignited a social change revolution across Canada, 5 US states, United Kingdom, Africa, and from Jamaica to Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean, while touching the lives of millions of children, youth, and adults. As a social scientist, he holds a PhD in social and behavioral science. Dr. Chaitan has designed and copyrighted the EDR approach, a 4-dimensional blueprint for sustainable crime reduction. And until recently, he was in contract with the government of St. Kitts on a crime reduction contract, and we are delighted that he received international acclaim for the job that he did on the island of St. Kitts. As a member of the International Association of Professional Motivational Speakers and a devout Seventh-day Adventist ordained elder, he has served the church from the GC level to the local congregation, and he has contributed to the United Nations, CEDA, and ADRA International. He has appeared as guest and panelist on several TV and radio shows locally and internationally, and can be read as a very productive crime columnist for Caribbean News Global and SpiceIslander.com of New York City. We're delighted to welcome Dr. Niels Chaitan with us this evening. Good evening, Dr. Chaitan.
Good evening.
Thank you very much. We are very delighted to have you this evening. So, Dr. Chaitan, this evening we are dealing with men and the issues that we face and some of the concerns that we share around COVID-19. As you all know, COVID-19 has unfolded lots of issues as it relates to men and some of the concerns that we share. Families, to be exact, Brother Rogers. And as we face these issues, the statistics and the information coming from the Caribbean islands speak of homes in crisis,
Yes,
particularly
yes, yes.
men in crisis. You know as well as I do that from our homeland, lots of men have taken their lives, not only in Grenada, but around the Caribbean. And we are reading more and more that many of them, probably because they're out of work, are finding it hard to deal with some of the stresses as it relates to coping with what is happening in the home circle. Are our men in crisis?
Pastor, I'm delighted to be asked by the government of Grenada to serve as one of the psychosocial advisors to the cabinet, along with my friend and your friend, of course, Dr. Augustine Panchu. We have seen a wide array of psychosocial issues. There's no doubt that COVID-19 has played quite a game on us. COVID-19 has stopped us in our tracks, totally. COVID-19 has shut down schools, churches, business places, workplaces, and as a result, not only that, but it has kept us isolated inside. You remember when the protocols were just established, it was called social distancing.
Correct.
And after it was changed to physical distancing, because social distancing could be quite a hit on the human psyche. Thank God for what we're doing right now, the social media. We could still interact. But what we find, Pastor, is that, and I imagine that the same is true in other, as quarantines and isolations are put in place, people are stuck within their walls. Like I've said several times, in a kind of a dysfunctional home, I want to be careful here, in a home where things are not going too well, where you have people just tolerating each other, a man, a woman, whether it's a marital situation or a common law situation, they might be just there for the child, for example. And the man perceives the woman as a nagging woman, or the woman perceives the man as an abusive man, a man who likes to go through her phone and stuff. What she go to a ball game and come home 9 at night, semi-inebriated, just take a shower, go to bed, and start it over tomorrow again. His medication was his alcohol, probably, and his escape route was
His job.
extracurricular activity. For the woman, she may go to the mall with her friends and shop, because of course she's trying to get away or stay away from what is not a very pleasant relationship. Well then, COVID-19 came and stuck us all inside. And you have this man who cannot cope with the relationship. Or you may have a teenager who is going through the what is called the interdependence stage, when they are challenging the rules, challenging how things are run at home. And the parents say, come home after school, come home right after school. And they usually hang in the mall with their friends. But no, they're stuck inside. And so what we found is that we find strained relationships. It is the perfect, very perfect recipe for domestic violence.
Okay.
For fights, for abuse, and whether it's female, male, whether it's, we've even seen teenage or parents abuse.
So in other words, they found themselves in place with the abuser or abusers.
That's correct. They found themselves nesting with the abuser.
Yes.
It's not all that. It's not that they have a choice. They can't go on the street because they're enforced.
But here's
The Caribbean islands. But in Grenada here, we have a curfew, right?
Yes.
State of emergency, so you can't stay outside. You gotta go inside. So as a result, it's a hotbed for relationship problems.
okay. So
However, I must put a spin on it, Pastor. If the relationship is not dysfunctional, but if the relationship is great, it's a different story. Because the man that is working over is a workaholic, and his wife wants him home, and he can't come home. Now she got him home. Now she got him home. So for good relationships, it's great. But for dysfunctional relationships, what we see, it's just a perfect recipe for disaster.
Okay, Brother Rogers, let me ask you the same question as I asked Dr. Chaitan. Are you recognizing that men are in problems at home during COVID-19 time?
Yes, men are truly in problems. Because one, men are not accustomed spending so much time in their home, as the good doctor said.
Men or some?
The majority of men.
Okay.
Because they go out during the day, they come home late in the evening, some may even go out to play dominoes, some may go out to play ball at the ball game, and so forth. So they don't really get to know one another. They don't get to know their wife well, the wife don't get to know them that well, their children live with the TV instead of with their parents, and so forth. So now with COVID online, abiding with us, it brings out all the dysfunctions and the lack of knowingness that should have been there.
Okay. I want to come back to you, Dr. Chaitan, because we have established that men are in problems. Are you hearing me clearly? Yeah? Right. So we've established that they are in problems. But the question I want to ask now is, why are men not able to handle and women seem to be handling better? I read an article that you wrote a couple of weeks ago, and you seem to be taking an angle that I want to draw from. You seem to be thinking that men and women are wired differently. Am I correct about that? And whereas men have set patterns by what they see, by some of the things they embrace, women see alternatives. Is that one of the contributors to men not handling, and some of them, because they are unable to handle the issues, are not, they are finding themselves in problems?
Yeah, well, the truth about, you know, right, I have seen so much, well, during the COVID era, we've seen three suicides of men. 3 men, 3 of them under 50, 3 of them suicide, 3 of them from the same parish. Of course, that's begging for a sociological study. But I'm just looking at it from on top of the table without digging too deep. I looked in that article, I looked at the brain wiring of the man versus the woman. And as we look at the brain wiring of the man versus the woman, the neuroscience has told us that the man generally, predominantly, is a left brainer in general. The woman is predominantly a right brainer. So let's break it up. What does that mean? The left brainer, his fiber pathways or his brain connections run in a linear or longitudinal manner from front to back. Right? I think I said that in the article, from front to back. The female, in general, her fiber pathways zigzag across the hemispheres of the brain. Now, so what does that mean? Because the man pathways move in a linear or longitudinal pathway, that lends to a certain kind of processing. And that processing is what I call target focused processing. Detailed planning, leadership, evaluation and analysis. Taken. The man, God, and yeah, I have to bring the Bible in here because God is our creator. And God has created the male brain to take leadership. And of course, I'm not going into theology. I'm going to leave you, Pastor, with the theology.
I think you're walking in deep waters.
No. The woman, on the other hand, with her zigzag between the hemispheres, she is more multitasking. She is more empathetic. She is more nurturing. She is more supporting. And as you look at the characteristics I just outlined, you would see how the target focus planning, detailed planning, lend towards the leader setting the goals, going for the goals. On the other hand, the female partner, she is the minister of domestic affairs. Oh boy, I had to say it nicely. Because in many cases, Pastor, women think we are demeaning them when we use other terms. So I like to say she is the minister of domestic affairs. It sounds more prestigious that way.
Dr. Chaitan,
Brother Rogers has...
let me ask you a question. Are you familiar with the Dunedin longitudinal study out of New Zealand?
Of New Zealand?
Out of New Zealand.
Which one is it?
The Dunedin longitudinal study, which looked at 1,000 men and women from birth right up to 40 years of age, and can therefore more or less identify a criminal from 3 years old, and more or less predict their life path, what they're going to do. They're also claiming that the adolescent brain is a work in progress. So are you saying that men minds are fixed, women minds are fixed, or it has something to do with nature and nurture, more or less, and the environment in which there is?
And that's why I said predominantly or predominantly, because I am not saying in every situation it is. In all the studies, my brother, it is. We look at the majority quotient of it, right?
Yes.
So we're saying that predominantly the man operates on a left brain processing, while the woman on a right brain, predominantly. And these studies, and I think I quoted it in the article. I quoted an article that was written in the Atlantic in 2013 by Olga Kazan, where she said that I think it was called "Male and Female Brains Are Really Built Differently," where she talked about the different characteristics and behavioral characteristics of the male brain and female brain. But where I was going with that argument, my brothers, is that when you put it in context to suicide or suicidal ideation, we could now understand why is it that men feel so frustrated and hopeless. And that's the point I was making in the article. Because if a man, a left brain, with his longitudinal and linear connections, lend towards target focus planning, detailed planning, leadership, analysis and evaluation. He's the man that sets the plan for the family. He's like, I mean, I don't know if you ever sat in traffic. I mean, I'm coming from New York City, and I'm coming up on the 87, which is one way home, and there is a really bad accident. And I don't know any other way to get home. As a man, my compass is set to Toronto. I'm set to go. The minute something comes in my way and throw me off, frustration comes in. Because the man is target focused. The woman, on the other hand, because she has pathways, her pathways go like this, she has a lot more options. Now, let's look at it.
But and I don't think he's wrong. The reasoning seems to be comparable to what we are having right now. because women tend to see more alternatives.
Yes,
and-
yes,
and-
because men are considered as the provider
Right, and I think
and
that's
the
what he's saying.
protector.
That's what he's saying.
And so when they cannot any longer provide
Right.
for their family and have to depend on government and handout, they feel like failures.
Right. Well, I think that's where he's heading. I think that's where Dr. Chaitan is heading. And you know, when you go back, go ahead, Doc.
Yes, whether it's nature, because when you spoke about the longitudinal study,
Yes.
you talked about 3-year-olds. You look at 3-year-olds and look at and project,
Yes.
which may become criminals. 3-year-olds have already lived 3 years, and if we know anything about childbearing, the first 5 years.
The first 7, yes, yes. Okay.
The characters are set.
Yeah.
So if by 3 years old, we take a 3-year-old and say, okay, let's look at what we have and let's project. That child would have been nurtured for 3 years.
Yes, yes.
So whether it's nature or nurture, I'm looking out for what it is, the reality of the situation.
Let me jump in here a little bit, Dr. Chaitan. Now, you teased me to ask this question because one of the things we are experiencing even in the United States, mainland, as well as even here in the Virgin Islands, the zip code in which you live makes a big difference. And those 3 suicides that you quoted in Grenada from the same area, it provoked my mind to question whether that doesn't have to do with where they live, the zip code.
Typing and profiling?
Yes.
Well, the truth about it, I wouldn't go down the road to profile and stereotyping. Because in my work, I treat a person as a person. That 3-year-old you're talking about there, give him to me and let me be able to impact this child. I've seen in the school system, I contracted for the Toronto District School Board, which is a home of 578 schools. I got about 299 files in my desk. And we have done exceedingly well with children who are nurtured, whose social setting was not conducive to produce respectful and productive people. And we've turned around, right?
Yes.
So I hear you, because I did say 3 of them, and by the way, a 4th one attempted.
From the same area, yes.
So, but to stereotype would be
Well, it's not so much stereotyping, doctor. It's not so much stereotyping. It's a matter of, for example, there may be a less wealthy community, or there may be a more affluent community. There may be an agricultural community as opposed to an industrial area. That's where I'm looking at. Not so much stereotyping.
I'm not hearing. I didn't hear anything.
So it seems to me that I heard.
Are you hearing now?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we're
Yes.
hearing you.
Right, I'm hearing you too.
Right. So it seems to me. Go ahead. Brother.
Yes, as I was saying, it's not so much stereotyping I'm looking at. I'm looking at when I mentioned the zip code. For example, is it an agricultural area? Is it a city area? Because, for example, in St. Vincent, the area where I came from, is an agricultural area. And they planted a lot of bananas and provisions and so forth. And they deal a lot with what we call grammar zone to treat the bananas and to kill the weeds and so forth. And sometimes, anytime they have a problem, especially male-female issue, because they have access to that potent poison, they go and they drink it easily. So I'm looking at the area, zip code, what kind of community is it, and so forth.
Yes, and so you're fully right, because in North America, for example, where you have the low-income housing, right?
Yes.
Where people are less economically advantageous.
Right.
Right? You would find people getting more into trying to make a living, trying to make a fast dollar, drug,
Yes.
guns, or what have you.
Okay, I think we've spent some time, and I think we've established the fact that our homes are in problem. The male, all males are in problem. We've established that. We've also taken time to determine what are some of the factors that are associated with men and the decision making that they make during this crisis time. Women see options. Men aren't able, based on how the brain is wired, to see options. They see themselves traditionally as provider, and because the homes were not stable, because families were not intact, they're not able to see the alternatives that are before them. And when the stress levels come on them, they seem to think a way of escape is just to end it all. Am I correct with that? Yeah.
You're dead on.
Right.
Because the major word is frustration.
Yeah. So
Because
go ahead, Doc.
Yeah, because the man brain processes this way, and the woman brain goes like that. She has more options, right? I mean, you look at a woman. She could have a child on her hip, answer the phone, cook, and still look at TV.
Yes.
I tried it. I actually tried it and almost dropped the baby, right? I wanted to be Mr. Super Dad, and I almost dropped the baby, right? Because God made her to be the Minister of Domestic Affairs. God made her that way. So when the man is target focused, he has a plan for his family. He has a plan when we're going to buy the house, when we're going to get it, how we're going to get it, when we're going to get a car, when the children go to school. He's a provider. Whether it's traditionally, so whether it's nurture or nature, brother, right? That's his expectation. And when things are not working his way, he gets frustrated because he doesn't have too many options. So he gets frustrated.
But that, so many men are listening to us now. How do we correct that? What advice do you have for them to change that pattern?
Okay. How do we change nature?
No. How do we change their mindset and to help them to see that they are stuck in one way and that they need to get out of it?
Okay, so today's Tuesday. On Sunday, I was called to a police station. But there was a young girl and a young man. A couple, if you please. Common law couple with a baby. And they both were threatening suicide. They both. When I went in, I spent about 3 hours with them. As I explained to them why the frustration and why the misinterpretation and why the guy wanted to go out and why you want him to stay home, as they understood the difference in processing, he relaxed. Just before we came on there, he called me and said to me, Doc, when you get off here, I need to talk to you again, because what you said that made sense. So our job is to bring awareness.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our job is to bring awareness. That's why I came to in St. Kitts, where Pastor spoke about. I run a program called I'm More. I am more. M-O-I.
Yes.
Me.
Yes.
French for me. But he also means men of integrity. So then we help men to understand the physiological, the biological. We help them to understand how they think, how they respond, self-identity, self-perception, self-esteem, and we grow them from there.
Was it a seminar, a workshop, or it was on the radio?
No, it's a complete program. We did it across the island of St. Kitts and Nevis in 23 communities.
Okay, fine.
Right? Where we run 12 sessions in every community, taking them from self-ID to phenomenal success. Show them all the steps, right? And you should see what had happened. We did it in the jails too.
Very good.
Again, the jails.
Yes.
They are locked in there.
Because generally, men don't like to go to for counseling.
Do counseling. I don't do counseling.
Okay, I want to ask a question, and that's for the benefit. We have lots of people listening to us online. What are some of the indicators at home for families during this period? Granted, many of them are going back to work now, But what are some of the indicators we can look for? Families, wives, spouses, what are some of the indicators they can look at to indicate that some of our men are facing the crisis? What are some of the indicators?
I'm going to get to it very shortly, but let me quickly read a list of things that could cause men to get into suicide ideation. Frustration is the overarching one. Failure and disappointment. Men cannot deal with failure and disappointment too well. Intimidation. What is intimidation? Making him feel worthless. Humiliation. When you break his male ego. Guilt. We got to mention guilt. Guilt is living with emotional torture from wrongdoing. Consequences. Some people take their lives because they cannot face the consequences that they brought on themselves. So they take the easy way out. All in all, it's hopelessness. And you know, Pastor, before I give you the red flags, just a while ago before I came here, I was driving through the Sandal Tunnel in St. George's. I'm claustrophobic, by the way. I don't like to be locked in. And the Sandal Tunnel is probably 250 meters, I don't know, long. And as I entered the tunnel, there was a number busted in front of me. I could not see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I felt like the walls closing on me. I felt hopeless. But then I stopped and the bus left. And I took a picture, by the way. I have the pictures. And then the sun came through the tunnel. I saw a light at the end of the tunnel. And I felt revived. What our job is to do is to show men that in the dark tunnel, the light at the end of the tunnel.
That's right.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Pastor, what are some of the flags we look at for? To look for a mood change, we gotta be, and I'm talking about significant others who are in close association, whether it is fellow employees, whether it is a spouse, whether it's children, siblings. Look for observable change in mood. If you know this person is an extrovert. Can I go ahead?
Go ahead.
If you know this person to be a sunny extrovert. If you know them to be a Royston Filbert in camp, like we used to be in camp in those days, Royston. And you see a change in mood. You see him low. You see him not smiling. You're not seeing the teeth like you see in Pastor Filbert every time. You know it's a red flag.
So whenever you see significant change in the mood of all men, you should that should be one of the indicators that something is going wrong.
It may not be suicidal, but something is wrong. There's an emotional upset.
Okay.
And it starts from not feeling good, being sad, progressively sad, all the way down to this desperation, to depression, and then the inevitable happens. Unable to stay on task. If you notice that, if you know that this individual is someone who like to finish tasks, and for some reason or the other, the person is giving up. They're not finishing their task. If Dr. Chaitan is in the kitchen with Mrs. Chaitan, she knows that after I use anything in the kitchen, I wash it and put it on the rack. And she sees the plate, she left me and the place is dirty. I don't care. I'm not finishing. It's a signal there's some emotional problem.
So in that case, doctor, the significant other may want to bring that to the other attention, but the other may disregard or rebuff that individual. What should be done?
Because the truth about it is that men, in general, I'm talking about general, men don't like to be corrected.
Right.
In general, a man is in a car driving his family to a certain spot, and the wife knows he's lost. She knows he's lost.
Yes.
He knows he's lost. But don't worry. I know where I'm going. Lost like crazy. Because man
Okay.
Don't go up to the man and point out his mistakes.
Okay.
Use your feminine charm. God gave you that. You, the Minister of Domestic Affairs. Come on here. When you guys were dating, you knew how to get what you wanted. So use your feminine charm. Because if you come with the right tone of voice, at the right time, in the right place, the man came from work, he's tired, he's watching CNN. Oh my goodness.
So Doc, in your working with various group and people, do you see any difference between those who are religious as opposed to those who are non-religious?
Yes. Well, you know what? The Bible, faith. Even in the Muslim community, I've done a lot of work in the Muslim community. So I usually say faith community. They believe in love, they believe in caring, they believe in family. So it is, you find a higher level of tolerance and patience. However, I must tell you that yesterday was Monday, and I had 3 calls from 3 families in trouble. And they were all SDs.
Okay.
Every single one was SD, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we see, because there is a general expectation. Even if you are not spiritual,
Yeah.
per se, but there's a kind of expectation we live up to. We fake it until we make it, hopefully. Right?
Before you move on, Dr. Chaitan, before you move on, I just want to say that you're listening to Perspective. This is every Tuesday we meet to look at the ins and outs, to deal with the issues, to bring this sense of awareness to our listening, viewing audience. COVID-19 has exposed lots of psychosocial issues, and it has really rocked many of our families. Today, we are really dealing with the men, those who are supposed to be the providers in our homes. We are the ones who've been grossly affected, and because of our macho-ness, the tendency is for us not to expose ourselves. And so we fall prey to lots of what is happening. We want to rescue our men this evening, and we are delighted to have Elder Marvin Rogers and our resource person, Dr. Chaitan, all the way from Grenada. We are delighted that he can be here with us. So we're dealing now, as we come to the end, we're dealing now with some of the threats, how you can identify when our men are in problems. What are some of the indicators? Of course, we have to agree, Brother Rogers, that, you know, home, when God came down into the garden and Adam and Eve walked away, God came down and he did not go to Eve, he went to Adam and asked Adam, where thou? So ultimate responsibility for the success of the home rests on the man. And so what we have to do is to tell our men, you know, that irrespective of what they are going through, the balance in every home is still to find the time to be with God. The moment you walk away from him, you will find yourself in distant from what the expectations, and really and truly, Adam only had that sense of manhood and identity as long as he remained close to God.
Yes.
And the fact is, if he should have remained close to God, the obvious thing is that he is going to be in tune with God, listening to the voice of God. And so there will not be times for rebuke and times for manipulating individuals. Love will permeate the entire atmosphere.
Yes,
Right?
because God provides the strength for us to bear.
Yeah.
He says, cast all your cares upon me.
Because he cares for me.
Because he cares for you.
Beautiful.
And in addition to that, that's what the faith community is for.
Yeah.
We go to church.
Yeah.
The pastor is there. The elders are there. Our good friends are there. If we find that we cannot cope and we are in trouble, we should reach out.
Yeah.
For help.
Right. So that's where I want to transition to Dr. Chaitan now to ask him, what do you recommend? I mean, we see the problems, we see the issues. What do you recommend to homes, to families, to men? What's your recommendation to us now?
Well, first of all, because the man is not very welcoming, right, to criticism from his wife. right? Again, Brother Rogers, be it nature or nurture, we are talking about the reality. Then we always suggest to get a mediator in.
Yes.
Someone who can help.
Yes.
All right.
Someone who could listen. Someone who help the man decode what he's going through.
All right.
Right? And I think that's one of women have so much more support than men. Look at our church, for example. If a woman is domestically violated and she comes to church with a black eye, the minute she walks in and her sisters see her with a black eye, they all come around her. Oh,
That's a fact.
you again?
Yes.
Right? They take her behind and pray with her. Or they say, girl, leave him come by me. If a man comes in with a black eye, he has to come with an excuse. What happened to you, man? Huh? Oh, I was fixing the brakes and Jack slip and hit them.
There's this sense of denial. There's this sense of denial.
Because he knows there's not a whole lot of support for him because of the macho men. I had one brother that said to me, I was hit by my wife. I went to the police station to report it because I didn't want to hit her back. I wanted to turn around to leave faster. The police were laughing.
Yes, that's it.
Because there's no support.
Yes, yes.
So you're saying that men must find support. Churches must seek to build support groups. Men's ministries becomes an integral part of the support group that we have.
Our men's ministry must work harder. Our men's ministry is not just about coming together and praying. Praying is invoking the power of God to help us. But God gave us brains. So God expects us to use these big frontal lobes we have. That's why He gave professionals to help us guide.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I do, and I'm so happy I'm in the Caribbean, because in Canada, I could not have prayed. I couldn't even say the P in prayer with my clients, right? But down here in the Caribbean, we could pray, which is a good thing. So God gave some of us some skills to help, some social skills to help people say, this is what you got to do. Let me help you. But you know what? Because of compulsive behavior, because of what we call ACEs, adverse childhood experiences or childhood traumas, that may have put you in a certain frame of mind, a routine, where you need more power than me to help you. Let's pray about it.
Also, doctor, would you suggest that women be a little bit more understanding, knowing the pressure that the man may be under, especially at this time? He may be out of a job. He may have other problems and so forth. And so he's not the same. He's not the same. But the woman may still want the best out of him, the regularity out of him, which he cannot provide. So there may not be that understanding from the other side.
Has no income coming, but it feels badly about not having income, right?
Yes.
So he has a double whammy.
Yes.
Double whammy. So it's important when we go into homes or when we go in churches, that's why we do not do men's work strictly with men. A matter of fact, I was just on the phone, Pastor, with the representative for St. Patrick's Northeast, right? Where you had the homicides, the suicides. And I will be going to speak with the men on the block. But I want the women to come too.
Yes, absolutely.
Because they must know how to relate, interrelate, how to back off, and how to come in.
Absolutely.
Because we cannot work with men in a vacuum and then they go home to a woman and say, look at you, you're all good for nothing. You know how much you haven't been working.
Yes.
And he trips up again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have to run to the end. We are here almost an hour now. I think we're running out of time. I think we're looking for solutions. I think we're looking for opportunities. I think this is a time when we have brought this sense of awareness among our boys, this sense of awareness among our families, to let them know that homes are really in crisis, Brother Rogers.
Yes.
And I think we can resonate with a lot of what Dr. Chaitan said this evening. It's important for the Christian home, the Adventist family, to take note. These psychosocial issues that we face, they are real. And they're not something that we should see as being far-fetched. We must see them as being integral towards the success. If we address them, we think it can help and build coping skills. So we're going to take a couple more, Dr. Chaitan, before we close. What do you recommend that for the home? What else do you recommend for us?
Okay, let me say it from a national level. How about that? For any psychoeducation to work, it must come three-pronged. There must be a preventative approach, an intervention approach, and a rehabilitation approach. Because men are right across the spectrum. Treat boys as men in the making. Boys were not born to be boys. Boys were born to be men. So we have to treat boys, let them understand, watch them, understand, support them, teach them from small. We go to the grade sixes. We go to the high schools. In the high schools, trust me, it's not even prevention. Sometimes it's intervention. Because they're already they're going through the interdependent stage where they phenotypically, they look like their teachers. Phenotypically, they look like their dads. They're tall, like their dads. And they have not yet caught up with the fact that they're not mentally matured, and they're not men. They're not men. So we have to teach them how to respect women, how to respect authority, how to respect themselves, how to share their feelings. My brother, a man is like a volcano. In Grenada, we have what is called sulfur springs or boiling springs around the place. These boiling springs are hot water springs that boil enough. They are vents for the volcano. And as long as the vents are going, the volcano, chances that it wouldn't blow the top because the pressure is releasing. We have to teach our boys how to share. We say things like, big man not cry. Hey boy, stop crying. Or big man not cry. The boy fall and hurt his knee. It's okay for the girl to cry, but the boy cannot cry because you call him a sissy. When God made lacrimal glands around his eyes to shed tears when his emotion is hurt. So we got to teach.
I really agree with that point. And so it prompted me to ask this question, Doc. These days, our boys, girls too, but we are talking mainly about men. Boys spend an inordinate amount of time on their computer and social media. They don't have to go out and take care of the animals. They don't have to cut wood. They don't have that sense of responsibility that they need. What do you recommend so that the family, the mother, the father can inculcate in the minds of their son so that they could be more responsible?
Okay. The thing about it is that with the social media thing going on, it has its good and it has its bad. The internet is one of the most powerful things we have. You can learn to fix anything on YouTube. You know that. You get from a bachelor's degree to a PhD online. Great. But the internet is also downloading into our homes some very undesirable behavior for our children. What we see now is that mothers and fathers, they're picking up the children, and whereas we used to be in the car driving and talking, I remember the Chaitans in Granville, we talking and we singing in the back of the car. Now everybody on their own gadget, right? downloading whatever they like. Now, what parents have to do? Parents have to be attuned to that. Parents are leaving children that come from school, going to their rooms with the gadgets. You know the truth about it? We're not even knowing each other. So watch this. When the red flag shows up, we can't even discern it. We cannot tell that this is a child that usually come sit on the couch and is so vivacious, so talkative. And what happened now? No, because we're in a generation that everybody's selfishly within their own sanctuary with their gadget, right? What parents have to do is to instill, because we are quickly losing the respect and the desire for work, for hard work, for chores. As you said, for cutting the wood, well, we don't do it again, right? Because sometimes parents are scared because we have child abductors. We have all of the girls being sexually molested out there. So parents prefer that they're inside where they could see them on the gadgets, not realizing the filth that they are still engaged in inside. So it's
Dr. Chaitan, we have to close. I think we've come to the end. We have established that these psychosocial issues are not only for women, but or men or boys. I think we have also established this evening that our homes are in problems and our men are in problems. We've also given indicators as to how to discern or to know when things are happening and how we should proceed thereafter. We've also brought some solutions to some recommendations. Quite rightly, the topic is vast and we have no more time to go through the details of all we're going through. But needless to say, I want to thank you immensely for being here this evening and to share your expertise. I think if we need, as a church, to face what is before us, we have to go back and re-establish the family altar in our homes, where we recognize that it is not only the psychologists or the sociologists. Yes, we embrace them. We think God has given them the knowledge, but homes need to get back to the point where God becomes the supreme ruler and he becomes the engine and the orchestrator for all of what is happening in our homes.
Yes.
Quite rightly, there has been a great effort among God's people to use prayer as that which is needed right now in these times. For though we may not have all the psychologists, and to be the greatest of respect to you, Dr. Chaitan, many homes did not have psychologists, but they had God.
Yes, absolutely.
And so we have to reestablish the fact that the homes must get back to the place where God becomes the supreme ruler, the supreme director, and the guide in everything that is happening.
Yeah, because the man is the priest of the home. And the home should be a place where everyone should be him or herself. And the communication between everyone should be so warm and friendly that communication should be smooth and ever present, so that the advice and counsel and love and understanding can reign, especially when God is the midst of the home. Then it alleviates a lot of problems.
I'm going to give you the opportunity, Dr. Chaitan, to say a few closing words. And
yes. My brothers and folks listening out there, there is no doubt that we see almost on a daily basis our men that our men are in trouble. And they need support. We have to be on our women were abused for centuries, and they have fought for liberation. They have fought for equality, and today they're doing well. But I think they're doing well too, and our men are left behind as a result. Our men are demonized, and so I think it's time for us to take the mantle. Let's work inside our churches as we go beyond COVID-19. Let's heal the inside. Let's strengthen our male bonding. Let's get together so that we could make brothers. And I could say, Brother Rogers, this is the way I feel. We could share with each other because we do have a mission out there. but to step out there in power. We need to heal inside.
We want to thank you for coming and joining us this evening. I think it's fitting that we should end this evening praying for each other as brothers. I think God expects that of us, and there are lots of people who are in line this evening. We want to pray for you, that God is going to bless our homes and lead us as we seek to move on and to help families to know that the only help they have is in our Lord Jesus Christ. Shall we not pray? Our Father in heaven, we want to thank you so much for the evening. We praise you for just this opportunity to go into the homes of our people, to bring this sense of awareness that indeed all families can withstand any storm as long as God is with us. I want to pray for the home right now that is in crisis. Pray for our brothers right now who have listened to us this evening and would have gleaned that indeed they are experiencing symptoms of what we spoke of. There may be wives this evening who can associate with lots of what we have said this evening. We want them to know, oh God, that there is still hope.
Yes.
I pray that through the power of your Holy Spirit, you will arrest issues and situations, and that you will cause homes to know that indeed the balance to life is still with the power of God. I pray, Lord, that you would create opportunities so that brotherhood can return to homes and churches. I pray, Lord, that you would create opportunities so that men who are in crisis, homes that are in crisis, can find help, because you have brought and you have allowed opportunities for these people, like Dr. Chaitan, to bring help to our families. I thank you for Brother Rogers, who has brought this enlightenment to us this evening. And I pray that those online listening, or those who would return to view this program, I ask, Lord, that you'd strengthen us, keep us faithful, help us to regain our rightful place, not in the sense of authority, but as we collaborate one with the other, we'll see ourselves as partners together in winning each other's for Jesus Christ. Thank you for this opportunity, and we pray your blessings upon us, and we give you thanks in Jesus' precious name.
Amen.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Brother Rogers.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chaitan. We're going to be in touch. After we sign off, we're going to be in touch. And thanks to those of you who viewed online this evening. We give God thanks for being in our homes, and we pray that you'll have a good evening. Until next Tuesday, God's willing.